Hi guys, this is Dr. Sadashivam once again with you. My dear friends, today if you see everywhere there is one topic that is being discussed, and that is green energy, green energy, green energy. And it is so important, be it share market, if you look at percentage returns, I don't know, some of these stocks, I don't know from where they have reached great heights. Look at return on investments. We're going to talk a lot about that, and over and above that, if you see whether it's UPSC, IAS, IPS, these questions on climate record, green energy, they are being repeated again and again. And there's a new subject which is ESG, which is environment, social governance, and everywhere these subjects, these themes are being discussed, and there's a lot of avenues for making money from the stock market. Even recently it was there in the news that Reliance and Adani, both these companies are making huge investments on green energy. And before we talk about Adani and Ambani, we are going to talk a little bit about power generation, and I would like to give you some statistics which will be a foundation to give you some information on what is power sector, what are fossil fuels, what is green energy, etc. Because this knowledge can be used whether in your competitive examination or you invest in stock markets. This background information is going to help you a lot. Like in the previous videos, I've always been explaining that the purpose of making these videos is not to tell you buy this share, buy this share. I'm not going to say anything on those lines, but I will be providing some general knowledge to you because I'm a corporate trainer, and what to buy, what not to buy, and how to use this knowledge, be it in competitive exams. Somebody wants to be an IAS officer or an IPS officer, or you want to invest in the stock market, it is your choice. Now, India is the third largest electricity producer in the world. I'm not talking about Asia, I'm talking about the world. And secondly, if you look at the total electricity generation is approximately 1300 trillion watt hours, right? 1300 trillion watt hours. That is as far as the utility generation is concerned. And if you add non-utility generation, it is approximately 1600 trillion watt hours TWH. Now you might ask me, what is non-utilities? Non-utility approximately is around 300 approximately, and that makes that difference between 1300 and 1600. What is non-utilities? Non-utilities are also called as IPP, which means independent power producers, and you also have NUGs. They are non-utility generators. They are not public companies, but they have facilities to generate electricity, and therefore they generate electricity and they sell it to utilities like government agencies. Not much, but 300, but 300 out of 1600 is also, may not be big, but it is okay. Now, if you look at India, a lot of people are saying, you won't believe, people are saying power cuts are happening, but India has surplus power generation. But the greatest issue is adequate transmission and distribution infrastructure is not available. We are going to talk a lot about this later. After that, we are going to talk about per capita consumption. So per capita electric consumption per year broadly, okay, is around 1200 kilowatt hour. What is kilowatt hour? For example, we call one unit as kWh because we're not going to go too deep into it. So 100 kilowatt hour per person per month means one person consumes on an average 100 units of electricity in a month. For example, in your house you have 3 people, you will consume approximately 300 units of electricity. It's quite possible some people may have 5 ACs, or maybe some have no electricity in their house, but on an average it is approximately 100 units per person per month. That's the average consumption, per capita consumption of electricity. Now this energy is developed from two things: fossil, non-fossil. What is fossil? Your crude oil, your petrol, diesel, they are generally fossil fuels, right? Anything you like coal, for example, that's also your hydrocarbon. Second comes renewable energy, about which we are talking about. Because today the whole focus is on renewable energy. Now, if you look at this, so many things are happening. You have this climate accord, you have Greta Thunberg. That girl said something which has revolutionized the perceptions of the whole world. All world leaders are talking about it. People are talking about ESG, whichever stock has ESG, those stocks are shooting, and every country is planning to have net zero emissions by 2070. Not just India, every country in the world is focusing on that. It needs to be done because glaciers are melting, because once upon a time winter used to start from September onwards, but nowadays winter doesn't start from November, and so it used to continue till March and April, but now winter ends in the month of February, right? So many climate changes are happening, and there is a global warming, ozone layer is getting punctured and all that. We will not focus. So renewable has become a very, very important theme. Now, out of the total generation, 20% generation is through renewable. I'm talking about today's situation. You have hydro, which is pani, bakra nangar. Second, you have solar, wind, biomass, tidal. You can take electricity from tide also. But of course, in India, we don't do much, but in countries like US, that's being generated. I'm going to share certain figures from you, and these figures are properly checked, and they have been taken from Harshvardhan from IIFL Securities. He has made a presentation. Second is Sandhu, very extremely knowledgeable person in the field of renewable energy, which is CEEW, Center for Energy Finance, a very renewed guy in the subject of renewable energy. And those guys are putting their hard work in order to promote renewable energy in our country. Now, I'm going to give you broad idea. There are three transitions that are happening. One is green hydrogen. Second is mobility, that is your car, etc. And third is energy generation, the one that we use in our homes, something that we have been talking about. All right. Now, we will discuss a little bit of background, and we talked about Reliance and Adani, who are making huge investments. We will talk a little bit about that, and even in the previous video, I have talked a lot about people making strikes against Ambani, Adani, etc. But look at these industrialists, how much of money they are going to invest. Look at investments, look at employment generation, economic growth. I'm going to share certain figures with you, right? Reliance is going to invest 6 lakh crores. Imagine, boys, how many zeros will come in 6 lakh. It will take 5 minutes for you to calculate. 6 lakh crores, okay? 6 lakh crore is not a small amount, and they're going to have some collaboration with the government of Gujarat, and they are doing that. Not that they will invest it next month, but over a period of time, because the money involved is huge. What they're going to do? They're going to put up a plant for 100 gigawatt for green hydrogen. There will be a complete ecosystem, and not just that, and they're also going to invest 60,000 crores for manufacturing your solar modules, PV modules, electrolyzers. What is electrolyzers? I will be putting up a separate video on electrolyzers and what is its role in refineries. How will Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, how these companies can benefit from this, how can they benefit from hydrogen, etc., etc. Subscribe to this channel, and I'm going to put whole lot of videos on all this, and how it will impact the stock market. How much to invest is up to you, but it will provide that required general knowledge. Okay, for the 60,000 crores, there will be batteries and fuel cells, and lots and lots of things are being done, and Reliance, they had announced that in their AGM also. Now coming about Adani. Adani has signed a MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding, and that is POSCO, that's a South Korean steel major. They are planning to bring an integrated steel plant in Mundra in Gujarat. Now you might think, what is the connection? What is the connection between a steel plant and a power plant? They are going to invoice $5 billion investment, which is 40,000 crores, but 80 rupees per dollar. Can be slightly less or more. Once again, how many zeros will come? It's quite, quite a complicated thing, but it's a huge investment, guys. 40,000. Now, once again, this question will come into your mind. What is the relationship between steel mill and power plant? There is a connection, because in this MOU there are a lot of other things, collaborations at the group level that is happening on the subject of renewable energy, logistics, green hydrogen, etc. After that we will talk about Reliance. Now Reliance has started a separate entity that's called as Reliance Solar. Now that solar energy will continue to be a separate company. For example, it will have no connection with their GEO or retail or Reliance Industries industry. That will completely be a separate entry. We really don't know when it will come, but it will soon be announced, going by newspaper reports, and something on lines of how Adani did that. If you look at Adani, he split his business at one point of time because they already have power. But for green, they floated a separate company. This is Adani Green. Now, if you look at Adani Green, they have created wealth for their shareholders, right? Go and look at how the Adani Green has fared. Like, for example, the share has shot up from 30 rupees to 2000 rupees in a very short period of time, right? Where is 30 rupees and where is 2000, right? A lot of people who are shouting Adani and Ambani. There are some rickshaw wallahs, some pani puri wallahs, guys who are selling pan. Even if those guys had invested 30 rupees, it would have become 2000 rupees, right? How much of a wealth has it created for shareholders is what we need to see. Now, we have already talked about power generation. So many things are happening, and now this is not just they are going to make more and more investments in green energy. Like, I have provided certain facts and figures, and you can use these facts and figures for making your investment decisions. Now, these are very capital intensive decisions, and it takes a long time for break even to take place, but potential is huge. Like in the earlier video, we have talked a lot about its potential. All the countries in the world are focusing on green energy because we need to improve economies of scales. If you remember, at one point of time, not everybody had a cell phone because the phones were very costly. But as and when they start producing more and more, the costs will come down. For example, Apple cost used to be very high, but now they've put up a plant in Chennai, and parts are coming from Taiwan, and they are increasing the production. As it happens, the costs will come down. Like it happened in cell phones, it will happen in the green energy also. And we are talking about exponential returns because of economies of scale. For example, recently this AGM, I'm not talking about yesterday's AGM, the before, whatever they had announced, investments are too much, and invest so much that investment in green energy will constitute approximately more than 50% of its balance sheets. Their AGM just got over yesterday. I didn't have the time to research those figures. I will do that, and I will start sharing those also. But these will be like building blocks. Like Rome was not built in a day. That's a proverb in English. Over a period of time, the building blocks will fall in place, and as economy scale picks up, and as I keep getting the granular information, I will be releasing more and more videos on green energy. Do subscribe to this channel and be benefited. And what is the role of the government? Government also has a large role to play in this, and the government is also investing too much on the infrastructure. So we are going to see another video on the role of the government and how much infrastructure the government is planning to do. Watch the second part.